Yes, it is. It's time again. The summer series continues on Three Guys Before the Game. And this is episode number 370 with special in-studio guest, Mountaineer footballer Casey Legg, along with the Senator Brad Howe and the Dean, Hoppy Kercheval. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Caesar Sportsbook. Download, get started, risk-free bet up to $1,100 plus that Uber Eats digital gift card for $250. We'll tell you about that. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com, and by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty-forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit at burdettcamping.com, burdettcamping.com. Still trying to get some confirmation that everything went well back on Saturday with Skylar Howard's debut for the West Texas Warbirds in the Arena League. I got to the point where I found the video file. The entire game is available on Flow Sports. So we're going to go back. Got to get a password username. And then we're going to we'll watch the whole game to make sure we see the Burdett Camping Three Guys banner.
You need a password to watch it?
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be, as co-owners of the franchise now, I think we should probably, that should come pretty easily for us, I would think.
The game. I don't know. I don't even try to look. I looked it up under news on Google, and they didn't have a score. They didn't have a score of the game. Anyway, we'll get into that. We got a lot of good, interesting listener texts. There was a situation in the Phoenix airport that we have to report about. Another situation involving a guy from Dallas. I mean, this guy is unbelievable.
P1 from Dallas?
P1 from Dallas. Situation.
Had a situation?
Well, a good situation this time.
Okay,
instead of him starting fights like he mostly does. But listen, we don't want to bore our guest. We want to jump right in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, WVU place kicker, Casey Legg. Stands 6 feet 4 inches tall. Charleston, West Virginia, and just overall good guy. This is the first in-studio guest we've had in a long time, right? Yeah.
Probably, since last summer.
Who was in last summer? Quack was here last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might be the first in-studio guest that's ever listened to the podcast prior to appearing on the podcast, though.
Bingo!
There it is.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
Well, these other two didn't want you. I said, no, we're getting them on here.
Is place kicker still the appropriate term? Is that used? It feels like it's halfback. It feels like you just went old guy half. Welcome to the show, halfback. Tony Mathis is here.
You might be right. You might be right.
Is it ever place kicker anymore? Or just kicker, Casey Legg?
I hear kicker.
Right.
But
you don't hear place kicker.
I don't
ever,
generally.
Except for the introduction.
Except when they put the PK next to.
They do PK.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's a good point.
People don't say it very often.
No,
they don't use T's anymore either when they're kicking field goals. Just letting you know, in case you missed that.
No, that's a pretty good point.
The block. They
bring
the block out.
We've talked on this show before, like when the old people talk about football players, and everyone was an end. Oh yeah. Right. Shorty Jenkins was one of the best ends that you've ever seen. Like everyone was an end. Everyone was an end, right? Yeah, he was an end.
My dad was an end
See?
in high school.
Thank you. Would play. He played end. But so Casey's not a place kicker. He's just a kicker.
Works for me.
He's a kicker.
Yeah.
And a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll get into that. We'll get into those numbers. So self-disclosure right off the beginning of the show.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we got to get right into it, right? Right? We got to get into it. For those that are regular listeners, you know that our producer is Jonathan Taylor County, Tyler Consolidated, Kennedy. Well, Casey and Taylor went to school at what grade?
Kindergarten.
Oh, geez.
Kindergarten. So you knew him in kindergarten.
I have known him since kindergarten, yes.
Wow.
If you think back, like what were your initial thoughts about Taylor? What stood out about Taylor besides his head?
He loved basketball.
Back then.
He loved it.
You were a pretty good hooper, I heard.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Better than Taylor. But
Yeah, wow.
Well,
yeah.
That's not saying a whole deal there. Your story's pretty wild. I like your story a lot in that people know. I mean, the one-liner on your career is he didn't play high school football. That's always the one-liner.
Mm-hmm.
But like the two-liners and three-liners is, yeah, you didn't, and yet you've become an extremely productive player here at WVU. So can we kind of do the back step here?
Sure.
And let's say
Let's do it.
you were more of a soccer player
Yes.
growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When was the first thought that you had that instead of kicking the round one, you might want to kick the oblong spheroid?
So that was October of my senior year in high school.
Oh my, that's late.
So that's October 2017, I believe. And we had a game at an opposing team's home place, played the game, soccer game, and then one of their parents, I think, asked my mom, said, "Has Casey ever kicked a football before?" She was like, "No, never thought about it," mentioned it to me. And then one day in October, I headed down to Legg Field and decided to try it. And that was pretty much the start. And that was it. Kicked for that week and really didn't think about it again until it all came to fruition.
So you drive to Legg, pull in the parking lot, probably found a space or two available, and you got footballs from somewhere.
Yes.
And
I think we went and bought footballs.
You bought footballs.
Yes.
Who's with you on this? Who's with you in the park? Who's with you? Who goes to Legg with you?
My mom and sister, maybe.
Mom and sister.
Yes.
Did you get permission to be there from Doug Cart or anything, or was it just unlocked? And
It
you
was
walked
unlocked
in?
that time.
Okay.
It was
All right.
unlocked. Yes.
Sure.
I've only broken it a couple times.
That's right. Fine.
Yes.
So you walk out there, and you have no idea whatsoever what you're doing.
No.
And so who's the holder? Or did you bring a tee?
We had a holder, one of those old orange metal ones. We just had it laying around. So I brought that with me. So that was my holder.
Can you recall the distance on your first swipe?
Probably an extra point.
Extra
20
point?
or 30 yards.
And did you hit it?
I did.
And you went like,
Wait a second.
hey, I got this figured out.
Yes.
I got the thesis.
But really, I think what struck me, well, I had a composite ball and I didn't know it then.
Okay.
So I had this pumped up ball that flew, but I could hit it 60 yards. And I can't hit a football 60 yards today. Those footballs we use now, I don't really hit them 60 yards.
Right.
But I had that composite ball, and that day I could hit it that far. And I thought, you know what? Maybe this is for me.
We need to mix in some composite. There's
We
not
do.
rules. Casey, there's
No,
not
we
rules
do.
anymore in the NCAA. I don't know if you knew this. There's not rules. So I think you can just go insert a composite ball if you want, right?
That's not a
I
problem.
think that's accurate.
Not a
I think
problem.
I'm right.
We've
Am I
tried.
accurate?
No rules. I mean, Legg's bringing his own ball to kick.
Bring
You
your own ball.
said they tried.
We've tried.
Oh, good.
We've tried to.
Oh, you can't. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what you should.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah. What people don't know is the teams bring their own balls to kick. So when West Virginia has the ball on offense or when they're kicking it, even when you're on the road, it's got the ball and it's West Virginia ball. It says West Virginia on it. You bring your own, which is kind of people I think might surprise in basketball. One ball, and this is the ball that we're going to use. Football, just throw them in, throw them out. It's on. Just don't bring Tom Brady up. So you kick the ball 60, and then you go, okay, it's a composite ball, and you hit some extra points. And okay, what was the next step in the evolution?
So my dad had worked with Mike Molinari, and he was, so people confuse him with Mike Molina, and he was before Mike Molina.
Right.
And he's from Parkersburg.
That's right.
So he had worked with my dad through Arthrex.
So tell what your dad does.
So he's a physician.
Okay.
Yes, in Charleston.
Okay.
So he had worked with my dad, and my dad texted him, said, "Hey, would you mind coming down to Legg teaching Casey a little bit about kicking?" So that was that week. So that week he texted him on that early in October 2017. He worked with me. I kicked on a Tuesday. He came out and kicked with me that Saturday and taught me a little bit. I essentially said, just kick it through those and you'll be fine. And then that was the
Good
end.
coaching.
That was the end of it. Really, I thought the end of it is after that day I kicked with Mike, I didn't kick again until it all kind of started to come around.
What does that mean? All started coming around.
So I had dreamed of it, of course, especially after that, kicking with Mike. Said, you know what, maybe I could do this. And then in February 2018, the end of my senior year, I had just signed up for a college ID soccer camp. So I was like, I'm going to go play college soccer. And I had just decided that in February. And then Mike texted my dad, said, "Is Casey still kicking footballs?" And I had not kicked since that day. And I said, you have to tell him yes. so he,
Every day he's out there.
yeah, of course,
Young man's working
every
hard.
day, hasn't missed.
Yeah.
But he texted him, said yes, he's still interested. Mike said, you can come for a tryout in May. Maybe they do those walk-on tryouts. And that was in February. And then about less than a week later, he said he doesn't even have to try out. He can just walk on. Because Mike had gotten hired. So Mike had gotten hired as the special teams GA.
Right.
So he could just bring me right on. And that is how it all came about.
This is pretty wild when you start to think about it. So you start off lately. You got an old orange ball holder. You kick it. And mom's there, sister's there. Okay, composite ball. Then hey, yeah, come on. That's lately, and then all of a sudden you're here.
Yes.
And it's got to be like, what did I just walk myself into here?
Yes, absolutely. And I wasn't anticipating that at all. Of course, coming from a small Christian school, I graduated with 30 people. So definitely an adjustment. I tell people that I feel like God picked me up and plopped me here. And that's really how I feel about it all came about. But
Yeah.
I was in and really still am in over my head a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
Hold on though. Were you at least a football fan before you started kicking?
I loved WVU
okay,
football.
so this
yes,
wasn't
of
totally
course.
foreign. So you knew the sport, knew what was
No,
going on.
it was. I loved WVU football growing up my whole life. So born in Charleston, my dad went to WVU, so I loved WVU football. So
based on what you said, though, if this season you're lining up for a game-winning kick against Oklahoma, can Tony say, legs in over his head?
Self-professed in over his head.
feel free.
No, he already has a game winner, so you're not over your head anymore. You have a game winner. You're good. You're totally good.
Do I?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, you've kicked points. But
points.
I mean,
Points.
you put points on the board and you win the game.
Yes,
That's a
it
game
counts.
winner.
not
Let's
a
count it.
walk-off game
Yes.
winner necessarily.
So how
That's
do you,
what I. Yeah.
So here comes KC Legg, a 39-yard field goal, and he'll admit to you he's way over his head. It's
That's
a
it.
2-point game.
That's it. But to be fair, Taylor told me that the only way I would get on this show is if I hit a walk-off field goal. And he told me that, I think, right before the season. I said, can you get me on 3 guys?
Yeah, well,
And he said,
as people do.
hit a walk-off, and they'll get you on.
Well, as we've said, he's wrong about most of his stuff. So you're
Fair
here and
enough.
you haven't had the true walk-off
Yeah.
yet, but you've had
Fair enough.
points that led to wins.
I think the only way Taylor gets on is if he hits a walk-off field goal. So that would probably be the end of it. What are your – okay, let's go way back. So you say you grew up as a Mountaineer fan. What are your first recollections of WVU football? What players stand out? What games stay out?
So I've got a Pat White jersey at home. I had a Steve Sladen jersey, Noel Devine jersey at home. So I remember games. There was I think, double overtime in the snow game I was at. I was at the 2007 Pitt game. And so I remember a lot. And then I remember going in the indoor and playing because they'd open the indoor and let kids come in and play.
Run around, yeah.
So it's funny thinking about that when I'm working out in there, running sprints in there during winter workouts. So those are my early recollections of being able to come hang out at the games, play in the indoor, and then watch us. We really won a lot of games then. So
Yeah, we remember. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got that memory. Yeah, absolutely. You walk on, and they say, okay, you're going to be given the opportunity. Refresh our mind. Who else was kicking back then? Who was here?
So Evan Staley was starting.
Evan was just coming in, right?
Yes. So that was his second season starting when I came in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you start kicking, and your first opportunity was spring ball, correct? Did you have a spring, or did you come in an August?
No, so I came in June.
June. You were a June guy.
So I was after
spring.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have moments that you think back now when you first began that you said, I can do this, or I might not be able to do this?
Yes. Well, literally the first time, which I don't know if you all have heard this story, but the first time I kicked with a real snap and hold, I think it was Kyle Poland snapping.
Sure.
And then Rex Sunahara holding.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a pretty good holder. So I'd never done it before. Never kicked snap and hold. So I nod. I don't know what I'm doing. Look down. No, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll. So Kyle snaps it. Rex puts it down. And somehow I kick his hand. Again, this is first practice. It was just the specialists, so not in front of the whole team, but that is my first in June or July, early on when I was there, kind of my first memory. And I thought, I don't know what I'm doing. And Rex was not too happy with me. He literally walked over to Evan and in not this nice of words said, "You need to teach him how to kick." And that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning.
Well, there's nowhere to go but up, right? At that point.
Exactly.
But so when that happens, I mean, what keeps you coming back the next day instead of just saying, I'm out of here?
I really don't know. Honestly, I think it being WVU football, I was not going to leave unless someone made me, of course. So I think the awe of it would have always kept me coming back. And I still believe that I could do it. It's not as though I'd given up, but that's hard to bounce back from, especially hard to.
That's humbling. I mean, you pulled a Charlie Brown.
Pretty much.
Right?
Pretty much.
Okay, so take that first day at Laidley, kicking Sunahara's hand. The biggest change in technique from then until now is what?
Well, honestly, that Laidley, I still have it on my phone when I kicked with Mike, and I'll watch it from time to time. That Laidley form, I'm trying to go back to that, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes, it's kind of more, almost everyone that I've kicked with, like Evan, Danny King now, kind of people like that, they've got an early start, and they kick like football players, I feel like. They've gotten the experience, been taught football form, and they've got it down, and I've never been able to get it down. So I really tried to copy Evan, copy other football players, watched a lot of NFL film, and then really realized that I couldn't do it. And I'm trying even now to go back to that original form.
More soccer
Yes.
kicker.
Yes.
And
they're
probably not thinking about it, right? That was form where you just went out and just kicked
hit
it.
And
Not
of
worried
course-
about where my foot is and how my swing and where my instep is.
Yes.
Right?
So you want it to be repeatable. But there are NFL, I don't know if you all know who Steven Hauschka is, but he was a soccer player, didn't kick till college, and he's known for having weird form, known
Right.
for having more soccer player form.
Right.
So it's not.
What's the difference?
It's doable. Well, they swing. So in short, Evan, like Danny, and more NFL kickers swing with their quad.
Okay.
So it's almost straight down. And that's what I was explaining to you two about kind of where my foot is when I'm swinging through.
Right. When we were at practice
is
that day. Yeah.
My foot's very open. And when they swing, because they're swinging down through their quad, they're able to get a good punch on it, hit it well in the right spot with their foot. But me, I kind of swing more groin and kind of out to in. So you widen your steps and then just have to let it fly.
And you were saying to us, just explain for everybody listening, that helps your accuracy but may limit you a little bit on distance.
It does.
Right.
So especially the form that I built last year and worked on last year, it was don't kick as hard and leave your foot open and then just trust it to go in. And that really worked. And then developing it really this off season, I've wanted to add that distance. So I'm trying to figure out that balance between distance and accuracy.
What's your comfort zone right now?
Well,
distance-wise.
So what I've done, kind of in trying to go back to that original form, like my more natural form, I've widened my steps out, and I'm comfortable from 53, maybe 54. But so that's just what
50 plus.
I told them that I want to be 55 and in, same kick every time.
Right.
And last year, I really don't think I could have done it. Like I built it on don't swing very hard, it'll go straight. And for the most part, it worked. But I wanted to develop that distance. And I'm trying to get the accuracy to follow too, because there are trade-offs, and I'm working on that balance. But
Do you have to convince? I mean, where does it fall? So Neil Brown or whoever's making the call, your special teams coaches say, "Hey, we're at 50, and it's 4th and 4, but Casey's going to be good from here." I mean, how do you get to the point where the coach is confident that you can hit it from there?
So pregame we'll talk about it.
Okay.
And the special teams analyst will figure out this is where you're comfortable from going this way or this way. So in Kansas, it may be 65 one way and 35 the other, which is important stuff. But I think more importantly, in terms of a coach trusting you to do that, you've got to show that you can do it in practice and to have that comfort level.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm focusing on now is I want to show that I can hit the ball that far. So he'll let me go try it out there.
So it's spring game Saturday. When you line up, you're gonna back it up to about 55 and make sure say hey.
Yes. Hey.
Watch, I'm gonna tweet that out.
Move it back.
Legg looks good from 55 in pregame warm-ups. It's always a big announcer thing, right? We always get that.
It is.
Watching in warm-ups, Legg looked good from 54 in.
Yeah. And Brad, he changed his form a little bit. He went back to some of the basics.
You can tell he's not using that quad, but more of a groin kick.
It is. That's it. That is it.
The
kicking 101.
Kickers oftentimes take a lot of abuse for not working as hard as the other guys in the weight room. What's your philosophy on that?
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
No, I'm just asking a question.
Well, I guess kind of Coach Joseph is great at what he does, honestly. So I think going in and learning that I have so much respect for him. So really, I just try to be faithful to do his workout and just trust him with it. So that's kind of my approach now, is to do that. And I definitely don't do as much weight probably as he would like me to squat or stuff like that. So my approach is more, I want to work on speed, lighter weight, and he's counterbalances me and helps me develop strength.
How much stronger are you from when you got here?
I mean, I had never lifted before, really, in reality, never been in that kind of workout program. I just ran and stretched. And that's what I loved doing. I was a soccer player.
Right.
So I was really probably 190 pounds my senior year, came in right at 199. And then as a part of the program, have gotten, there we go.
Yeah, look at
There's
those
my
watching the
soccer
video
days.
stream. Yeah.
Yes. My last soccer game ever right there.
Really? So what do you weigh now?
So I'm right at about 215 now.
Well, I tell you what,
We're going to watch it.
You're a big kid on the
Look at
soccer
that.
field.
Got it right here. I've been thinking about how to ask this because you went to a Christian school and are you still a person of faith?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he gave it up.
Very, very much so.
Just
a joke.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know. I know.
So do you pray to God that you make the kick, or do you just pray that that you have been put in a position to do whatever you're going to do? Now, be honest here.
No, I definitely asked to make it. Of course. But there's definitely a moment, really before I kick, kind of in the lead up to when I kick, where I kind of hand it over and say, either way, I trust you. Or I'm just going to be faithful to do what you've called me to do, which at this moment's kick a ball.
Okay.
And if it goes in, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So there's a moment where I hand it over and say,
but you're not beyond asking him.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not. No, when I'm out there, I don't even think about result.
Okay.
I'm just, what, I trust you. It's going to be okay.
You put it into the category, let your will be done.
That's
Whatever
it.
your will is.
That's it.
You're in.
That's it.
I'm with you.
But not without asking.
I'm sure.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Not without asking.
Give me
When you're on the sideline and you think it's coming up, like,
hey, I'd love to.
That
Very
58
appropriate
yarder.
question following Easter Sunday there.
that's right.
First of all,
That's
very
what
well
he's done.
done. Very well
Let me
done.
make this
Yes.
Very good.
kick.
Very good.
We had Jenny Thrasher, the Olympian, on with us on the last show, and she talked about how important the mental approach is to what she does and in sports overall. And I know that you also, right?
Yes.
Can you walk us where you have come as far as mental toughness and training? What do you do?
So which my faith is a big part of that. I think that gives me a lot of peace when I'm kicking. That honestly takes care of half the battle, I think, for me, is I'm able to hand over results. But in terms of mental training, I think for kickers, similar to golfers, it's just you're doing the same routine over and over and over again. And then for me, I think about the same things every time I kick. So that's my way of doing it, is I try to completely, I don't think about makes, misses. I'm just thinking about my routine. And that's my process, is take the same steps back, same steps to the side, think the exact same things. And then we were talking about before the show, blocking everything else out. So that's really all I'm thinking about when I'm about to kick or even at practice. Pressure kicks at practice is those same things every time.
Refresh my
do you hear
memory.
the crowd? Are you aware of your surroundings?
Not really.
Really?
No. And it's a blur, and it has been since my first field goal. It's almost completely a blur.
Yeah.
And it helps when you have something. For me, it helps to have something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taught in sports psychology to not think about anything a lot of the time, but I have to. And that helps me. Like, I'm thinking about where I'm going to kick the ball and not think about the crowd, the situation, anything.
Refresh my memory. Have you ever been iced by an opposing team before a kick?
I have.
Who was icing you?
So that was in 2019 K-State, pre-51 yarder.
Oh, they iced you before the 51.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a 34 yarder, and I yanked it left, and then pre-Texas, right before halftime this year. Got iced.
You know, I'm trying to think too. Like when you're trying to get in your right headspace, any guys come and go, "You got a case, you got it, man. Don't worry about it."
Yes. I mean, which I don't think it has as much of an impact on kickers as you would think. It's if they miss, they miss, and if they make it, they make it. And that's been my approach. Is I don't think icing is as effective maybe as people think. So when I get iced, and when I got iced against Texas, it was a 49-yarder right hash, right before half. And I didn't change anything, and I missed, but I would not credit that necessarily to.
Yeah, that's a hard kick either way.
I just missed. I just missed. So
I don't know if I can ask this correctly, what I'm trying to ask you, but how do you watch the offensive series? Meaning, are you paying attention? Are you fanish for a little bit on great plays? Are you totally dialed in? Are you hoping it stalls so you get a chance? Are you hoping you don't kick? How do you watch the offensive series?
That is a good question. I would not say I'm locked in, really generally not cheering. I'm kind of just doing my own thing, and I have the same warm-up every time as I take a no-step kick into the net, do a couple practice swings, and then walk up and just wait to see if I'm up or not. And that's really when they pass about the 40-yard line, I'm going in. So I'm not as locked into the game as probably anybody else on the team.
You're just preparing.
I try to remove myself from the score, from anything that's happening.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
And when we're on defense, I just enjoy the game. Think about how cool it is I'm out there and really enjoy it.
Cool. Okay, so then offensively, though, is it as soon as West Virginia takes possession of the ball, you have a routine that you go into?
Yes, it's kind of like a flip.
Yeah.
And I can remember specifically the Virginia Tech game this past season, and that was coming off of COVID. The stadium was filled. So when we were on defense, I was having a great time, just enjoying the crowd, waving to my mom, I don't know, stuff like that. And then as soon as we're on offense,
I'm nervous just listening to you. Doesn't it make you nervous? I mean, it makes me nervous.
It makes him comfortable though, because he knows he's going through his steps. So that's what gives him. That's what gives you your comfort.
And I find it extremely difficult to stay completely zoned in for 4 hours, however long a game is. And I've tried to build in times where I can just relax, have fun.
But isn't that what Jenny was saying the other day? I mean, that's basically what she was getting at. Hers was process between 4-year Olympiads. He's talking about process within the offensive drive, but it's the same thing. He's not sitting over there worried about, like, we're already thinking about the result. As soon as they get near the 50, okay, Legg will be good front, right? We're already starting to talk about that. Yeah. And he's saying he's not doing that. I'm just going through my steps, and when I'm called upon, okay, go out and kick. Doesn't matter the situation, right? That's in essence what you're saying.
And in reality, which is something I've tried to preach to myself, is what I do never changes with what the score is. I just go out there and kick, and it's the same kick. So that's something I try to preach to myself, even as you're talking about that, is I'm not thinking about results, what the score is, if we're down 2, if we're up like 50, hopefully. Like, none of that changes what I'm doing on the field. So I've tried to, and it's almost like there's no score, there's nothing else other than following your steps.
Is it more difficult in practice when they intentionally stop practice and everyone is there and they're trying to rattle you?
I think it helps.
Okay.
And it adds some distance to my kick too.
Okay.
So I think, and it helps for preparation because that's what a game's like. So I've found that helpful, and Coach Brown's done that the whole time he's been here. And I remember his first spring doing that and putting us in pressure situations. So I find it helpful. And of course, it's great when you make them too, but I've found that really extremely helpful.
What don't most fans know about Neil Brown?
Oh, wow. That's high pressure.
There's no more pressure than a 51-yarder at K-State.
It's high pressure. I don't know. I'd say this is going to be kind of more serious, but I think, which maybe you can tell from the outside that he really cares about us. So I think that's important. And I hope people know that and see that is he does. And I've seen that since he's been here and how he tries to be around players. It's cool. It's cool to see. And I don't really know how other programs work because I've been with him for 4 years now.
Right.
But I know that, and that's cool to see.
Yeah.
Cool to see that. But really, in his interactions with us, he does a really good job of leaving kind of kickers in their own world. Of course, he's not scared to challenge us or anything like that, but he's really does a good job of, you go do your work. We're going to trust you to make kicks, work with, and work and do your steps, do your job. He trusts us to go do our work, and still isn't scared to challenge us at the end of practice or anything like that.
Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Burdett Camping Center. They happen to be the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. You can visit them in Winfield, not too far from where Casey was born and reared. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. If you were watching that Arena League game this weekend, the West Texas Warbirds, about 34 to 37 Burdett campers around the arena. Unconfirmed reports.
Unconfirmed, working to confirm that.
Hoppy, do you have a final
I got a final on that.
How'd we do?
47-28 Warbirds.
Yeah, baby.
Skylar Howard, not 2, not 3, not 4.
Yeah, keep going.
5.
Yeah.
Touchdown passes.
Yeah.
5.
Probably need to have an ownership meeting here. Do we extend now or wait?
Extend now.
Extend him?
Yeah. I mean, look, he's not new. He's proven.
Skylar got
The
out.
body of his work has been proven.
Get in touch with his agent later.
Skylar got out there and said, this or that West Texas oil field? I think I'll do this. I'll throw 5 for you.
That's nice. What was the score?
47-28.
And he went for 5, had 5 touchdowns. There we go.
Through 5. Only 168 yards, but 5 touchdowns.
Right.
Small
care
field.
about touchdowns.
Small field.
Yeah, care about touchdowns. Can't get yards.
Can't get yards.
Can't get yards, Hop.
Can't yards.
Howard went on. Okay. Trevante Coleman when he scored. Howard went on to connect with veteran speedster Jordan Candy for 2 touchdowns.
Candyman.
Let's see. Howard said of Candy. Anyway,
That's awesome.
5 touchdowns, man.
Yet another proven. That's all we do. When people come on this show, they go out and they flourish. So this is probably setting the table
Good to know.
for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, probably setting the table for
I have
him.
19 field goals Saturday at the spring game.
Yeah, probably.
Hey,
I hope
unrelated,
not.
unrelated to kicking, but you're in the master's program, and you're going to do. But you're only a junior, aren't you?
So
What are you?
That's a great question.
He's
That
a
is a
junior.
great
How-
question.
He's a junior, but in a master's program, but a
No.
COVID
I'm-
year. So
There's
what
no
are you?
more.
I'm-
Hoppy, it's the NCAA nowadays. There is no more.
Just keep
He
kicking.
Casey's
Go
done what he
keep
wants to be
kicking.
done.
Kick it for life.
16
Casey's
years.
done what he wants to be done.
Yeah.
That's it.
So what are you then?
So, I mean, I'm technically a redshirt senior. So I redshirted in 2018 and then played 3 seasons. And this would be my last season. But then I've got COVID too. So that adds another year. So technically I'm a redshirt senior, I think. And that may be how I don't know. But then I've got 2 years.
Vindicated.
So
Well, not
so
only do we
This
not know, they
will
don't
be
know.
my 5th
He doesn't
season on the team.
Yeah, you get
But
6.
are you coming back?
Well, that is a great question. I think definitely, of course, this year, but
TBA, Hop.
TBA, yes. We'll
But
see.
you could come back for 6.
Yes, I could.
Yeah.
And
Kicker
Yeah,
for
he could
life.
come back for 6. Yeah, super senior.
Designated kicker for
All-time
life.
That's it.
kicker.
I'd love it. So we'll see. But I'd love it.
We've chatted about this before. What do you see yourself doing going forward?
I think so. He said I'm an MBA in an MBA program. So I'm learning, and I really want to learn how to run nonprofits. And that could entail Christian school or church, and then also something similar to Salvation Army. So I don't know where I'll land in that, but that's really what I'm most passionate about. So somewhere in that.
Maybe stay in the state?
I want to. I definitely want to.
I hope you can.
Thank you.
Did you ever consider medicine like your dad?
I did not.
You're out on that deal.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Never shadowed him. Never.
Yeah.
I wasn't about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. That's all good. That's all good. So, spring ball. Good, fun, different, buzz. What's the inner energy on this thing?
It's going well. I think it's definitely going well. And I can kind of take you from the kicker specialist side of it. It's a relief when you can finish winter workouts, finish heavy lifts, early workouts, and actually go out in the sun and or snow and practice.
Yeah, I get tired of that other
and
stuff.
then talk to you all during practice. Great time.
Always a highlight.
Great time. So that's
Always a
why I had to
highlight.
give you the.
Do you guys
kicker
are going morning this year? Do you like that?
I do. I do like that. And that doesn't impact me because I'm not in-person classes. I'm all online. So it doesn't impact me as much as it does everyone else.
Right.
But I really like practicing in the mornings.
Do you have a play where you take the snap on a field goal?
That's classified.
Yeah, wait
Wait a second.
That is classified.
Wait a second. Stop
answer.
that
Coach
right
was
now.
trying to bite balls in there at the end.
Black that out.
So
You
that-
can't ask him about trick plays.
Unfortunately,
Senior answer there by Casey.
I am not seen as the most athletic person on the team. So,
Were you talking about you or Taylor?
I mean,
What's your 40?
40. So I ran. so listen
What's
to
a
this.
40?
I ran an unofficial 40
Unofficial.
when I was a senior in high school, and it was a 4.77. Not that bad.
No, that's all right.
But it was unofficial.
Sure.
But
Probably-
but I am not.
probably
I'm
screwed you
not
on the time.
seen as the most athletic person on the team. So any fake probably would not involve me.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm just throwing you off.
That perfect. That's what I was just going to say.
No, that's fine.
This will get scouted by Pitts up there listening.
Yes.
To this.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
deal
Pitts
with
will
it.
snap at the leg.
Yeah.
Or
We'll
run
throw
an
it in
option
deep.
play. You're going to snap in case he runs an option.
No, I'm with you.
Oh, shit.
It did not go well.
You ever tried drop kicking it yet?
I have. I'm not very good at it.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
We'll just leave it at that. A lot of conversation, obviously, within the college space here on NIL and transfer portal. How much conversation among players is there regarding NIL? Yeah, just that locker room banter, like, "Yo, anybody getting any NIL here?" I mean, do you guys talk about it? Is it a topic?
I mean, probably not as much as you would think. And we're thankful for it, of course, and all the guys that have been able to take advantage of those opportunities are thankful for them. But it's not like that, I guess. We don't talk
So it
about it
hasn't
often.
shredded and fractured the locker room.
It
as
has
some
not
people
shredded
thought would
no, it has not.
professed what
No,
happened.
it has not.
Right.
Let me
No.
ask you this. This is my thesis. Some people from outside say, well, if you have players making a certain amount of money, other players will get jealous and you will break up the locker room. My perception is actually the guys that are making money internally, the other guys around the team know that those are the guys that should be making the money, and they go like, hey, man, I'm happy that Dante Stills is doing this or that, right?
Yes, that would be the general reaction.
Yeah, let's see that
Yes.
thing.
Well, it's just the
So,
new currency. In the
yes.
old days, it used to be, well, why are you putting that guy on the schedule card? Well, everybody in the locker room knew he was going to be on the schedule card because he was the best player. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
Remember the
What
schedule
about,
cards?
do you want to
Kurt
give, can he give his?
Yeah,
NIL
Casey
deal
just signed
shout
an
out?
NIL
He's
deal,
got an
so
NIL
Did
deal.
I?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
I'd have to give an update. We had just talked about my lack of social media, and I really had almost sworn it off. I'll never get on social media. I'll never do it. I won't do it. And then have an opportunity to do a deal. You know what? I'll do it. I'll make a Twitter.
Give him a plug. We can give him a
I'll
free
make
plug.
it
Go
to
ahead,
it.
give him a plug. That's fine.
Casey Legg 48.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now give a plug
Twitter.
for your NIL deal.
So the NIL deal is Parmar, and they just grabbed a bunch of the guys and are putting something together,
Yeah.
which is
Very
cool.
good. Yeah, it's very
I
good.
thought it was a cool opportunity.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
I said that's worth making a social media account for.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you're a Parmar influencer.
I guess so.
Parmar
You could
influencer.
call it
Sure.
that.
So here's the deal. I think your last name, I mean, if it's anything screaming from a marketing standpoint, the guy that kicks, his last name is Legg. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So like why isn't an orthopedic surgeon? Why is that not an NIL deal? Right? Why isn't it? Well, huh?
It's coming.
Why isn't a shoe store coming to him and saying like, Legs, we'll put the shoes on your feet.
Yeah,
Go to Casey Legg.
It should happen in advance, but when it doesn't, 4 field goals against Pitt and a win, here it comes.
No, that would do it.
Walk-off game winner,
Yes.
it will come the following Monday. I mean, now he's positioned to when the results come on the field. Those are going to come. He's going to hit this fall.
But to be
He'll get a
fair,
couple.
though, if anyone is listening and wants to,
You'll take it now. You'll
Hey,
have to do a
you're
deal
open.
now. We'll do a deal now.
give me a
What they
call.
used to say, Hoppy, West Virginia's open for business.
Open for business.
Casey
Casey
Legs, open for business.
Sure.
Casey Legg 48. You can DM him.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, just why not?
Why not? Yeah.
We get 20%.
I was going to 15. Yeah, 15. So you want to live in West Virginia going forward. What is it that you love about the state?
The people and the atmosphere of the outside. I love it. And I think people don't understand on outside of West Virginia what the community is like. And having lived in it my whole life, I understand. And I know what it's like. And I think it's a great place to live. Great place to raise a family. And that's kind of my motivation for staying. It's the people, community. So
That's probably a tourism NIL deal right there.
I don't know. Why wouldn't they use them?
Yeah.
I mean, right? You can leg around the state, right? Lots of different things.
for sure.
I like it. I like it. All right. So Saturday, spring game, going to be 100 degrees. The ball's going to fly about 72 yards. Hey, tell us about the dude from Florida State.
Parker.
Yeah.
He's really cool.
He got a little bit of a banger of a leg, huh?
He does. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So he'll be great on kickoffs, and then of course he'll try to be great on field goals too. But he's come in and been really a great addition for us.
Is he pushing you on the field?
He is. I mean, he's doing very well.
And he wants the job?
Yeah, he wants it. And he's got a shot too. It's not like but we're friends, so it's cool when you're able to be in that and be able to look at a field goal job and say, you know what, we both want it, but we're still able to hang out. So me and Evan Staley and I had that balance for 4 years, 3 years.
Does it help that you got the kickoff was unsettled last year, so that takes some pressure off of you?
A little bit, and I really can't hit a kickoff to save my life. So,
to save your life, I think you probably could, but Senator.
No, but it's been cool having him come in. He came in right before spring started and got to develop a relationship, hang out during practice, all the good stuff.
But truly, ideally, you wouldn't want the same guy doing kickoffs and field goals if you can help it. Correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Who has more tattoos, him or you?
I don't think either of us have tattoos.
No, he's got.
Does he?
No, you're thinking about Oliver Straw.
I'm thinking about the punter.
Oh, you're thinking about Ollie, the punter from Australia.
Yes.
So how's that relationship? You guys talk? Punters?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, what's that deal? I mean, he's still a young kid.
He is.
Most of those Australians like 33.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it's
be just careful.
What?
Careful.
I had the situation. You're bringing up a situation.
Yeah. Generally, when you wade into the Australian territory, there's an international incident. So I'm just telling you, you want Hoppy and I to handle this line of questioning.
Well,
normally you screw it up.
Most of the Australian kickers are a little bit older. So I'll just leave it at that.
It took a year for us to repair things with Australia.
Yes.
We had a situation when Josh was here.
Gotcha.
May have.
It was pre-Josh.
Yeah. Well,
pre-Josh
the
that
kid
you
bagged us.
you swore off the continent.
Yeah, the kid bagged. There was a kid that was supposed to come. He bagged us.
Oh, yes.
So I crushed the continent of Australia.
Gotcha.
As though the entire continent was responsible.
I didn't want any of them. And then Josh came, and he was a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
in fact,
Josh was
cool. He sat right in that chair right there when we had him on, and we repaired that.
We are a big specialist podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where was I?
Well, at the time, you were probably about 8.
Running around with your Noel Devine jersey.
Yes.
Look what I got. Look what I got.
Running through the inflatable helmet in the pregame thing at the IPF. Now you've ascended.
Yes.
You've ascended, yes.
This will be fun, man. It's going to be a good season. Opening up at Heinz Field, huh?
Exciting. Really exciting. Especially growing up in West Virginia.
Sure.
You understand. And I understand.
Yeah, like the Virginia Tech deal.
Yes.
Right? That has to be a
special.
special game.
Yes, it was.
Awesome. Well, listen, man. Can't thank you enough for coming in.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we encourage everyone to reach out. I mean, this guy needs some NIL. We're a big NIL podcast,
big supporters.
Right?
Big supporters.
Yeah. So if you're
how about Burdett? I mean, Burdett did a big thing at the Warbirds.
Why wouldn't Burdett hire him as one of his influencers? Casey could be driving one of the big RVs, right?
Sure.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, they're in Winfield. I mean, you know where that is, just outside of Fraser's Bottom. Yeah, absolutely. You can come in there and take care of that. So Burdett Camping, one of our big sponsors. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
There he is.
Thanks,
Good to
Casey.
see you,
Casey Legg. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. He'll exit. We're going to do this. We're like really, really
Was he going to make like a Kercheval exit? Wait, hold on. Do you need to use the restroom? Because if one guy's getting up, you could maybe just go.
No, he's good right now. He's still.
You might as well go now and then just it's already an exit.
I'll see if I can wait it out.
Oh, wow. There it is.
There it is.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Casey Legg. 19 followers.
Hey, slowly but surely.
When did you start that thing?
Last week.
Okay, so
Last
here's
week.
the
Wait,
deal.
I'm going to follow you right now.
I'm going to show you the power of three guys. All right, for all of our listeners out there on
this right
Twitter, at KC Legg, that's 2 G's next to each other, and 48
Wait,
on
what is
Twitter.
it? Are they right next to each
Yeah,
other?
they're right next to each other. Hit it. Give them some followers and build this thing up. All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. There he goes into the abyss. Casey Legg.
Follow. You picked one up already.
Yeah, I'm following you. He's going to give us some pearls of wisdom. Oh boy, well that was nice to get that going there. I thought that was a fine interview, huh? Yeah, you're going to change seats? Okay. In the meantime, let me remind you folks that Comex Business Systems is a super supporter of Three Guys Before the Game. They happen to be your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. You can visit them at Comex Systems, ComexWV.com. That's ComexWV.com. They will come in, as you probably well know, and do a complete investigation of your business's networking system. Are you safe from attack? Are you safe when it comes to the data that you have stored? Viruses potentially getting in on you? What can you do? What do you need to do? Comex comes in for absolutely no cost to you. They will do a complete inventory, a check, and they'll come back and say, this is where you're good. This is where you've got some potential security issues. They do that for free, and you can go and do what you need to do. They'll fix it for you. They offer all of these services to make yourself feel comfortable and safe. Stay away from the hackers. Stay with Comex, 24/7 remote support. Visit them at ComexWV.com.
He's up to 21.
Yeah, just a matter of time. We'll get that thing cranked up. That was a nice chat, huh?
Oh, yeah. What a great guy.
See, I never knew the story about him, his sister, and his mom out at Lately with an orange ball holder. Is that crazy, dude?
Yeah.
That's crazy how that happens. Some kids, like the day they're born, their dad's got it. Like, you're going to kick this ball? I got this. Pretty wild.
And he had a great year last year. You know, made the first 13?
Yeah, that's right. He had a run. He didn't miss until October 23rd of last year. He went 3 of 4 against the TCUs. And then finished up 19-23.
You go with that.
Yeah, that works.
I mean, how much does that help you, Brad, when you have a guy who makes field goals?
Huge.
A guy you can rely on. And if he can make it from 50?
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting in talking to him, and we talked about that after we talked that day in practice, just the consistency versus now trying to add a little distance on there. If he can get consistent from 50, look out.
Yeah.
You fellas have a nice weekend. We've got Tech's coming up. We have new basketball recruit coming into the fix here, Senator.
A big guy.
Very. Yeah, big guy. You did a little detail work on him, Brad?
Yeah, it seems that he's going to be – so Jimmy Bell's coming in. He's been a guy that's been at junior college most recently, played 2 years at St. Louis. That's where you try and get some comparables off of him, but just tremendous size. And it looks as if this is an early take, but it looks maybe defensively ahead of the offensive side of the ball. He's going to be a guy that takes up space inside, can guard the post down low. So not huge offensive numbers, but showed some flashes of defense early on when he was at St. Louis.
Brad, didn't you make that point last last show where it looks like Huggins is building from the inside out, from the defensive side first. Like, let's get that first and get guys that defend, because they did not defend well last year, and get that set.
It does seem that way, Hop. Yeah, when you look at this class and these guys that have come in, especially from the portal, that it's defense first, then offense. And Tony, you could imagine Huggs sitting around saying what at the end of the season?
Got to guard.
Like, we're not doing that again. Right? I'm not going to have a team that won't guard and can't guard. We're going to fix that. So I think that's the early read here. We got a bunch of months to get through before we see guys, but the early read is this team's looking like it's being built defensively, and our questions will focus on, are they going to have enough offensively to win games? But defense looks like it was the emphasis here so far.
And last year, I mean, except for Osaboyan, they really couldn't defend in the paint last year. So you get this guy.
And struggled rebounding, right?
Yes,
so if you can add some size in there of guys that can guard and make it difficult inside, don't just give up the lane and get rebounds, that's a step forward from where it was last year.
I laughed out loud. Speaking of Osaboyan, I was driving home yesterday and listening to the Mountaineer baseball game. And they said,
was he playing second?
They said, Gabe Osaboyan's in the stands. And I said, well, why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be? The guy's hit 55 counties in the last 2 weeks.
We spent some time with him at the Boys State basketball tournament.
Fantastic to see him.
Had a great chat with him.
He's all over the place.
We said this, though. There was a void that was left for that job. I think did you call it ombudsman?
He's an ombudsman, yes.
He's an Quincy Wilson took the head coaching job in Florida. It opened the role for the state. Quincy was the former WVU athlete that appeared everywhere. I mean, everywhere you went, no matter where it was in the state.
Quincy's there.
Quincy, good to see you.
Yeah.
Didn't matter where you were.
Yeah.
Gabe has assumed that role with Quincy's departure to Florida.
He's all over.
He should come back and play.
Well, I mean, he's had his run. I mean, he's all out of eligibility.
Well,
they only give him 6.
Who's really? I mean, how weird is it now when you ask a really, really smart young man, Casey Legg, where are you? And he goes, well, let's see.
You got red shirt, you got
technically a red shirt
COVID.
senior, but I'm in the master's program. But with COVID, I could do another year.
And then gave you an I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. So we don't know either. I don't know what anybody is anymore. So just play.
Just play.
Just play.
Until somebody says you can't.
which I don't know that anybody tells anybody they can't regarding anything in college sports. It's not rules. Just play.
Just keep playing.
As crazy as my proposal was many years ago, where I said each college should have a franchise player that can play for 10, we are absolutely steamrolling toward it.
Yeah.
We're steamrolling toward it. You thought it was a joke? We're going to have a 10-year veteran. We got these silly kids playing for 6 schools who might as well journeyman.
As Kirchhoff's
journeyman players.
And plus, when you go to several schools, you're going to lose track at some point.
They can't count. Well, I'll tell you this.
It's like, well, I was there, but I really didn't finish the semester. Therefore,
I'm just telling you this, and I'm being 1,000% serious. Jarrett Kearse, who used to play basketball here, there's no question that he played college basketball for a span of time that exceeded 7 to 8 years, right?
It definitely did, because he was on 3 different MTV shows in between.
Yes, and then he was playing again in college.
Yes. College, MTV shows, playing in college on the back end. There's no way that could have happened. So people lost track of him.
Absolutely did. Off the top of my head, WVU, UMass, Shaw College.
Oh, very good. I wouldn't have got shy. I knew it was something like that.
Three MTV reality shows, and then he ended up at another college. I mean, he makes Teddy Allen look like a loner.
61 when he got done playing.
That would be a great one to find out for real. That would be a great one. He could probably do it. Find out. Dig some box scores up. All right, a lot to get into. Texters are ready, and we're ready.
Ready for some texts?
Yes, I am. Thank you for asking.
You know, like that song Marvin Gaye said.
Yeah, I know the song.
Not an idiot song.
All right.
Because I think this does cleanse for some. I think it is.
Yeah. Textual Healing performed by David Saab, Morgantown native, now a massive record producer in Lexington, Kentucky. Got a big studio there, Lexington. Till his girlfriend tells him, get the heck out of the room, let's go. Take him to dinner, do something. Got to get back. I mean, he made an invitation for you, Hoppy, to ask. He'll do any kind of a song that you want to do, and you never come back to him.
Well, I will. I'm a little behind on some things, but I will.
Texter, Tim in St. Albans. You three guys never disappoint. Greg Jones episode, great. And then you three guys afterwards yucking it up, kidding each other. I am laughing with you guys. I guess that's better than laughing at us guys. Texter, P1 Jason in Dallas. Hey, guys. I knew this would happen eventually, and it finally did. I'm right now, 6:15 p.m. Arizona time, sitting at the bar at the Terminal A Admirals Club at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, waiting to go back to Dallas and listening to last Thursday's episode. A guy just came up to get a drink, peeked over, and he saw my WVU coaster.
That's last week. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Last week, he revealed to us that he brings a coaster with him. This is the follow-up.
Oh.
I'm listening to Thursday's episode. A guy comes over to get a drink, peeked over, he saw my West Virginia coaster, and after a few unsuccessful tries, I was captivated by the story about carts. He finally got my attention. He asked, noting my coaster, hey, did you text into Tony Cariti's show? I smiled and said, yes, but I was thinking that'd be a one hell of a coincidence if this guy ran into some other guy in Phoenix who brings his own WVU coaster when he travels. We fist bumped, and he walked away. There's always a West Virginia connection.
No, wait a minute. So the coaster guy.
He's back at the Admirals Club this past week.
Yeah.
He's listening to three guys about when we were talking about the carts.
Yeah.
You remember the cart story last week? Kevin Nicholas holding all those carts. So the guy's getting a drink next to him. He looks over and he sees the WVU coaster. He gets his attention and says, according to this, hey, did you text into Tony Cariti's show?
That is wonderful. That is priceless.
Oh, man.
Just making connections around the world.
We're up in West Texas at the football arena. We're in the Admirals Club in Arizona.
It has been for a while. It's been an international podcast for a long time.
Well, ever since Madagascar.
Yeah. Continue to pick up steam nationally.
By the way, he's coming in June. We're having lunch with him. Hello, TC.
Don't bring any weird delicacies like he sent us.
No. This will be at...
Not interested in any surprises at lunch.
We're going to Muriel's.
Okay. In.
Hey, TC, Senator, Uncle Hoppy, this is Tommy Boy from Independence. I've got a great guest suggestion. My pick would be the legendary men's basketball athletic trainer, Randy Metter. I'm a 1996 master's grad of the athletic training program. Randy was such a great teacher and mentor of the training program. I would love to hear his stories about athletes as well as the coaches, from Coach Catlett, Coach Beeline, Coach Huggs. I still can't believe he's been over there the last 4 decades. I always love the show. Randy would be really, really good. I don't know if he would do it. He might be, one could call him a little quiet.
He would have some good stories.
He'd be great if he'd give you his stories.
But he won't give them.
He won't give them.
He won't give them.
We need a statute of limitations once he's done.
Yeah.
Before we get stories, I think, out of Randy.
Randy is, he's still in, so he can't, but there'd be some unbelievable stories. He agrees with me that Larry Holly had the worst feet ever. That's back when he was working football in '84.
Randy agrees with that?
Yeah, and Randy was...
Others in the company say that, too.
Worst ever.
Former managers?
They were just really... They didn't even know how he ran.
Former managers have contended that.
They didn't even know how he ran. His feet were so kind of weird and deformed. Really? Yeah. But he did. Had an interception against Penn State in '84.
Randy used to be a big noontime basketball player back in the
He's still in
days.
Still in great shape. He works constantly. He's in great shape.
Where's he? Where is he?
Who, Larry?
Larry Holly.
I have no idea.
I thought you said, well, who's in great shape?
Randy Metter.
Randy.
Man, I'm having trouble keeping up.
Yeah, you are. Hey, give him some flashcards. Texter says, Scope, Senator, and Hoppy, Ted in Warrington, Virginia, also known as the train guy. First time writing in a while. I've still been listening, and as I admittedly was down on WVU sports and Mountaineer football specifically, suffice it to say, JT Daniels has changed that. If forced to pick one, which wideout is best equipped to break out now? I'll go Prather. Related, do you see a heavier role for the running backs in the passing game this year? And since there is always indeed a West Virginia connection, my wife and much of my family are Georgia grads. They say Daniels was their best QB. Take that for what it is worth. So who will optimize JT Daniels if, in fact, JT does win the quarterback competition?
I think with Daniels back there, there's a better chance for somebody to break out, but reluctantly would speak to that because for 2 years we've been saying who's going to break out.
What are you looking at me for?
Waiting on a comment?
Yeah.
Hoppy said it. You're right. Been saying for a couple of years who's going to break out. I mean, it's Prather or Bryce Ford Wheaton are your two options. Because I think Sam James is going to have a good year. He had a good year last year. I thought a quiet, really good year from Sam James. Given what he did as a freshman, I'm not even sure it can be a breakout if Sam James goes bananas this fall. So I just think James is going to be productive, catch some balls. To me, it's Prather or Bryce Ford Wheaton. One of those two has to be a dude. One of those guys has to be a guy that the defense turns on the tape and says, find this guy.
And because JT Daniels can throw the ball down the field, he can throw it a long way. So, okay, you get single coverage. Who will go up and get the ball? Mm-hmm. Okay, because you can't just have like the perfect pass to the wide open guy all the time. So when you're on the 50-yard line and you throw it as far as you can, who jumps up and catches the ball, Brad?
Or maybe there's a yet-to-be named player that might not be on the roster yet that could be coming when they see you have a highly acclaimed quarterback out of the portal in JT Daniels. Maybe somebody is lurking. So maybe the breakout receiver isn't necessarily on the roster just now.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable hope or expectation.
Speculation.
Thought.
Okay.
Thought. Texter, 3 guys, I loved the Ginny Thrasher interview. I think it would be interesting to hear from someone associated with the pride of West Virginia, whether it's a director, former or current band member, drum major, twirler, etc. Just to hear all of the work that goes into what we see on the field will probably be eye-opening for many. Signed, one of the female listeners who generally doesn't think you're idiots most of the time.
Appreciate that.
Well done.
Just find out how they make the state, which is impossible.
That's hard.
Shift it the other way. That
would be fun to do.
It can't be done. I don't know how they do it.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? Maybe we get Bill Nevin. He's the voice of the Mountaineer Marching Band. From the College of Creative Arts. Gentlemen, this is Ben and Scott Depot. Now that it's mowing season, your show is perfectly timed to finish my yard. Summer interview that you absolutely need to do is Gail Catlett. I'm not alone in my love-hate relationship with Gail. He was such a polarizing figure in WVU sports history. Did more with less and cared less than anybody in his era. Highlight is when he called Pitt a mediocre program in 1982. Classic Gail. Then Pitt beat us in the Eastern 8 final of the Civic Arena, which is, to the date, the most exciting live game I've ever seen. And I've seen plenty. My freshman year. Before your time, Tony. Ask Hoppy. It was electric. Get the cat on. Well, we've tried.
Yeah.
And everyone I know, I mean, I've asked Coach, and he just said,
You've talked directly to Coach about it.
Yeah, and he just said, hey, I like you. I just like being in. I'm good. I'm good. I'd love to do it. I would be like about a 6-parter.
Oh, yeah.
So is Kerlav the only 2-parter? We did Coach Nealon in 2 parts.
No, we've done somebody else was more than one, I think. Off the top of my head, Taylor might be able to tell us.
Cat, if he would ever agree to come on with us, would break
Multiple.
the record. That would be at least 3.
You know what would be valuable before the Catlett would be extensive research, because there are so many moments where there was either big games or Catlettisms where he said something. So you have to say, how about the time that, there's about 24 of those that you'd have to flag. That would be just great.
I'd love to do it. I mean, I think that, pretty much a generation has passed. There's a lot of kids that are Mountaineer fans now that are in their 20s that don't have any recollection. The
stories would be great. The West Virginia stories would be great, but it still gets me when you talked to him and he told you.
What did he say?
Told you what?
What did he say?
He told you about going to Fog Allen's house.
Oh, that was the best story
Cat
ever.
went to not the field house.
Well, Adolph.
Cat went to Fog Allen's house.
There's so with Adolph Rupp.
With Adolph Rupp.
With Adolph Rupp. That's what made the story.
Coach Rupp.
Adolph Rupp called and said, "Go get the car. We're gonna go somewhere." He just drives. He goes, "Here, let's go. Stop here. Walk in. Walk down the drive. Walk down the patio thing there." And a guy opens up the door. He's got a USA basketball coat on. His Fog Allen with Adolph Rupp.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Sweet 16, all the pitch. I mean, there's a million stories. And then there's that, oh, by the way, he was in a car with Rupp, and they went to the Fog Allen's house.
Well, how about the
There's
staff?
not many guys running around hopping and give you a story about Adolph Rupp and Fog Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, the cat would be awesome.
Well, how about the staff at Richmond? Lefty Drizel was the head coach. Terry Holland and Gail were the assistant coaches.
That's, yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah,
that
think about those stories.
And then Ted Owens at Kentucky, at Kansas. He was at
Yeah,
Kansas. Ted Owens.
I know. It'd be awesome.
unfortunately, in the latter part, things didn't end great, and it was controversy at the end. But there was a long stretch there, guys, Tony, early on, when this thing was red hot.
Oh, yeah.
With Gail Catlett, and the Coliseum was packed, and they were having these big games with Pitt and Duquesne. And our company, Dale Miller organized, we were taking like 4 buses of fans up to Duquesne games and Pitt games. It was huge.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because it was like a new golden era, and you had some great players. It was really exciting. It was an exciting time for Mountaineer basketball.
Well, you think about it. I mean, the 70s were not a whole lot going on within the Mountaineer basketball program, plain and simple, until he got here.
Yeah.
He lit the wick. Texter says, "Dear Senator, Scopes and Hop, Kent in Charleston, South Carolina, by the way of Morgantown. I'm an episode behind, but the first Skylar Howard text in the Greg Jones episode called out the running nature of his style as part of the detraction to the effectiveness and stellar stats of Skylar. There's probably something to that, not only following the superstardom of Pat White, but also being that tough blue-collar guy. I think Skylar might have been amazing as a running back. I also think that the reason we've become more fond of him over time is because he embodies the hard work that is West Virginia. He just happened to come right after a time of essentially unprecedented success for the program. I loved the interview, and I loved them all. You've probably got the summer series all lined up, but I did have a thought that it might be interesting to do a panel of guys from different eras, like, say, a football panel, with receivers from the Nealon, Rodriguez, Holgerson, and Stewart eras, and get the variety of takes on the program, past, present, or guys from the Catlett, Beeline, Huggins. Could be interesting. Almost forgot. Love the show. # clowns. Thank you.
I thought we have fun. I didn't know we're actually clowns. I mean,
someone sent me the highlight of when Nyheim Hines was gushing over Tavon Austin. Thank you. Jeff in Jersey City. Hello. Streak alive and well. Jenny Thrasher did not use the word idiot. Let's go Mountaineers.
Solid point.
She was happy to be with us.
although given her intellectual level, she could have.
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah.
Jim from Preston County. Hello. 3 guys, even though Hoppy's a part-timer, do you think, like me, that no change will come to the NIL system, transfer portal, as it is now until a blue blood has a defection that derails their season? Thanks for all you guys do. Now, I think that got to keep one thing in mind. There are more non-blue bloods than there are blue bloods, so eventually I think the non-blue bloods will get enough sway that they're going to put this thing in some form of order.
You would hope.
I would think so.
It's just, I think the issue is just what we've said before. It's just so hard to get a consensus and get some rules in place, especially with this category where the lawsuits have been so one-sided. So it happens. It's just going to take a while to get those guardrails in place, in my opinion.
Hey, guys, Ted in Colorado. I'm trying to be positive about the players Huggins is bringing in, but Jimmy Bell just not moved the needle for me based on his track record and the other schools that made him offers. What is your take on this player? I think you did that earlier, Brad. He's a defensive guy. Don't pencil him in to score 10.
Mm-hmm.
That would not be it. Defensive guy. Texter, Dean, Senator, Scopes, mark me down that Jenny Thrasher was one of the best interviews on 3 Guys. We are fortunate to have her represent the state and university. Last episode, a texter asked about a WWE tag team. I would like to see the Istanbul, Dennis Kalichla, or Cam Thurman pair up with Scotty Jerko. Also, I'd like to hear an interview with Cam Thurman or Joe Hairbear this summer. Finally, I'm glad a computer is not doing your colonoscopy. Only one for your business. Always looking forward to the next episode. The Three Guys GI Doc. This is the guy. This is the GI Doc. He listens to this podcast while doing the colonoscopies.
It seems appropriate.
We do not know where he lives, nor do we want to know. Winston in Princeton. Hello.
Is he the guy that tattoos stuff on people?
No, that was a suggestion I made.
Oh.
Thinking about
Who's this? This is Winston from Princeton?
Correct.
Oops.
Turn your ringer off,
You need
goof.
to take that?
No.
Thinking about the addition of JT Daniels, I've come to the realization that prior to securing him, WVU's quarterback room probably ranked near the bottom of the league. However, I would now say the Mountaineers have a top 3 QB room in the Big 12. I would actually rank JT Daniels as the second best QB in the conference, right behind Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma. What about you guys? Where do you think Daniels ranks among current Big 12 quarterbacks for the upcoming season?
Well, before you all address that, I'll tell you this, that I tell you what it got you, and we've talked before about winning the narrative, which it did. It also got you, West Virginia, it got you some national pub, and that never hurts. Because it was kind of a slow time just before spring games, and all the portal stuff had been pretty much cleared out, and so every major sports website, every major sports news organization, Tony, was doing stories about it because it is a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it got you some national narrative, which is valuable. Of course, you got to produce, but it got you national pub.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other part of his question, I think you're way over your skis, Winston, in Princeton. Way too early, my man. I mean, he has not put the uniform on yet. Let's take this in baby steps rather than in gallops. There'll be time before you make who's got the best room.
But it's still a reason to. It has injected an additional level of enthusiasm and excitement.
There's no question.
Because of the gravitas that he brings to it because of his background.
Absolutely. But I mean, the justifiable, correct comparison to me is when West Virginia was able to get Will Greer. Very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to that. Three Guys Before the Game was brought to us
I
by.
don't know. He might be onto something there, though.
Excuse me?
From a reputation standpoint, he might be onto something. With Daniels. Helping that room. I mean, there's a lot of questions at quarterback, right? Iowa State, Brock Purdy's out. Who's Kansas State have at quarterback?
The guy's been there for 16 years.
No, brought in the guy from Nebraska.
Oh, Martinez.
Martinez.
Yeah.
Okay. Oklahoma.
Right.
Who do they have? They lost Caleb Williams. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, as you mentioned. Okay.
Yeah.
He's done some. Who's Oklahoma State have?
Whoever
That
was
dude's
behind.
TCU, Texas, Texas Tech, West Virginia. Dive into that later.
Yeah, you're in the conversation. You have a pretty good room. Got a chance. Three Guys brought to us by Caesars Sportsbook, giving a feast to new users. And by that, we mean a $250 Uber Eats gift card. Here's how it works. Wager $50 total. Win or lose, you get $250 on an Uber Eats digital gift card. Just all you have to do is use the promo code RADIOEAT. That's one word, RADIOEAT. And then wager away. NBA playoffs, MLB, hockey, golf, you name it. Caesars rewards every bet you place. Closer to great things like tickets, free stays, experiences, and more.
Is Sanders back?
I think he is.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
played
he's back.
3. Yeah.
Must be 21, physically present in West Virginia. New customers with eligible promo code only, real money, wagers only that have minimum odds of -200.
Redshirt senior.
All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app and get a $250 Uber Eats gift card on a $50 wager.
So there's not a school in this league coming up that won't have quarterback questions. I mean, Sanders is the most experienced,
Sanders
obviously,
is the
so you
most.
would think he has the eye upside, but obviously there were questions about him over each of the last
Sure.
3 years.
Sure.
Who's at I'm sorry. I was just interjecting. I was trying to find out who's at TCU. Is Max Duggan? He's not back, is he?
Oh, yeah, he could be
He's
back.
back.
Absolutely. Max Duggan's back. Yeah. Texter. Hello. Little Rock. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to the senator, a man of the people, who recognized this sporadic texter from Little Rock last show. I'm not sure why I put LR instead of Little Rock. Maybe it's because listening to you three clowns around a few times a week makes me feel like I live a little closer to the great state of West Virginia. Or perhaps I'm just trying to cut down on my character count in compensation for my first text of the show where I was sneered at for adding West Virginia to Parkersburg. So now at least you all know I'm not Andrew in Leroy, Illinois, by the way of Parkersburg, Iowa, although I'm sure there's a West Virginia connection there somewhere. P.S. I am dying to see the Three Guys Burdette Camping Center sign from El Paso. Andrew in Little Rock. So Perfect. Are we.
Perfect.
Do we have any news on that?
Working on it, efforting.
Does Taylor need to jump in? He's been on a hot streak lately. Hop, think we get Taylor involved in this?
Well, Taylor, again, he's on a heater, so.
Does the West Virginia connection count that I've lifted weights in the Parkersburg High weight room?
First I've heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
Reason?
End of school, junior year in college.
What?
Went back with a buddy of mine, stayed a couple days before heading back home, and his dad was a coach at Parkersburg High in Iowa. Not West Virginia. Yeah, he referenced Parkersburg, Iowa.
Yeah, okay. So I was like, what the heck?
Then they went over and got a little workout session in Kirchville.
Yeah.
Parkersburg, Iowa.
What was your best bench?
260-ish, 270-ish.
Ooh.
That's back when I could lift.
How many reps on 220 could you do?
No, never tried that. That was before they were doing that at the combine. Didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah, okay.
Texter, in a recent article on the signing of Toussaint and Stevenson, it says they've signed a grant and aid for the 22-23 academic year. Does this mean they're not on scholarship? No, it means they're on scholarship for next season. So, no. That's next year. It's 22 now. So this is 22, and January is 23. It's for next year. So that's scholarship. How many scholarships do we have left in basketball? How many you want? How many you want? I think that I've seen some people put rosters out there and say, here's all the scholarships, and there's this left and this left. I say no. I say there's going to be changes to what you're looking at.
Do they count any? I mean,
yeah, they count, but I'm just saying.
Speaking, is
I'm
that
just saying there's.
We took the over on 2. There's a sports line side bet going, Hoppy.
Yeah, what is it?
There was 2. That 2 was pre-Jimmy Bell. So we're in pretty good shape.
There will be more.
We said more than 2.
More than 2 what?
Bell is 1. Check that off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some.
Take that side. Might be plus money, but I'll take that side.
Sean from Raleigh. My weekend chores allow me to get caught up on other podcasts since the workday commute is used for Three Guys and the evening public affairs program. As good as I was
Hold
feeling...
on, you got to read it like he wrote it, because that's how Hoppy says it.
Sean from Raleigh. My weekend chores allow me to get caught up on other podcasts since the workday commute is used for Three Guys and the evening public affairs program. As good,
well, that's yours. Evening public affairs.
He's taking a shot at you for program. As good as I was feeling about the uptick.
You say it program.
Instead of program?
Right.
What's the matter? Can't you talk good? As good as I was feeling.
What's wrong? Having a nuclear meltdown?
Aluminum. As good as I was feeling about the uptick in the narrative, it was disappointing to hear that it's not shared amongst the national talking heads. Don't get me wrong, I'm a born and bred West Virginian and former program insider, so I'm used to that and understand, not necessarily agree their position. One of the shows discounted JT Daniels' ability to move the needle since he'll be throwing 3-yard hitch routes only. We have a new OC, right? I don't feel like that's been the Harrell offense. Was I watching the wrong USC? No, I've never once called South Carolina USC. I could go on and on about the other show's takes, but not worth discussing, to be honest. Anyway, my question. In practice, which I know is watered down vanilla, they have been pushing the ball down the field. Yes? ? Always enjoy the show, and a sad part of the year when you throttle back to once a week. I get why, and I managed to cope. Take care. Well, for the record, we would go twice a week the entire summer, but Hoppy always comes to Brad and I and says, I'm not doing that stinking show in the summer.
I don't recall that. I don't recall saying that.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. Well, again, Sean, whatever.
Don't worry. You know what? Don't worry about that. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously.
We'll find out.
Is
We'll
that
know.
everybody, there's a million shows, us included. Everybody's looking for content. Everybody's looking for hooks. You know, you got to have something to talk about. And so you got to have a take.
Sure. Zach from St. Albans, with the collection of transfer portal additions by Hugs and Company being more so defensive-oriented, it is obvious that the idea is to revert back to a more defensive-minded approach. Press Virginia, who's to say? No complaints with that on my end. And the big question for me, along with plenty of others, is where's the scoring coming from? I realize that with the style of high-intensity, turnover-inducing defense that Hugs likes to roll out, some offenses created on fast breaks, steals, opposing offenses are held to fewer points and second-chance opportunities. However, I am left wondering who on this roster will be able to take the ball and score in the half court when things break down at the end of a shot clock or at the end of the game. I'm curious to see if the one remaining scholarship, as of right now, is used on a player that fits that need. What say you? 3 guys.
Agree. That's what I've been saying. Said it for a couple weeks now. That I agree, Zach. That's the question. Where's the offense come from for this particular group? That'll be the question. That'll be the questions we ask heading into the fall.
Yeah, I agree. So Stevenson averaged 13 a game at South Carolina, right? Where do points come from? That's the question.
And there's not a definitive answer right now on this roster. That will have to be they begin playing and you see if someone can step forth and take that mantle. Because as the roster sits right now, there isn't a go-to, I've got the ball, get out of the way scorer.
So you've got the freshmen coming back in Johnson and Wilson and King as far as your scorer-type guys, not including James Okonkwo, who's a big. At this point, is it realistic to think that one of those 3 would be able to average double figures as a sophomore?
It's a big jump.
That's a huge jump.
I mean, it may happen, but that's a big jump. That's what I mean. That question doesn't get changed until they're actually out there doing it. We could argue all day whether it happens, right? You don't know that. I mean, Wilson showed an ability to score and score quickly and score in bunches when he was in, but does that translate when you're playing 32 minutes a game? Does that turn into 17 points per game? That's a heck of an ask for a jump.
And it's easier to find to fill defensive slots than it is to find a guy who can give you 24 a game.
Oh,
agree.
17 a game would be like
would be
run around and
acceptable.
put your arms around that.
I mean, 15 a game. If Stevenson can turn around and give you the same numbers that he gave you from South Carolina, I'd sign up for that right now. If you told me Stevenson ends next year scoring 13 a game, I'd take that right now. Wouldn't you? From a transfer portal dude?
Yes.
I'd take that right now. That's the most established, proven scorer that has come in so far at the Power 5 level.
But you need more.
You absolutely need more. Sure you do.
Better pro career, Deuce McBride or Colin Gillespie?
Deuce has looked pretty good early. I mean, Gillespie's been a wonderful player, but Deuce McBride has shown to me, because of his production so far, that he has all of it that it takes to be a productive NBA player.
Correct.
The athleticism and the skill set.
See what Trae Young did the other night?
Yeah. He's pretty good.
Pretty good.
He's pretty good.
He's a guy that you obviously saw in the Big 12, and you said, wow, okay, he's an NBA guy, but you wonder how he's going to do. And then he's a guy who got better.
Yeah.
At the next
It
level.
got better, and style helped him. The ability to open the floor and create space is perfect for that guy. In the college game, where you can muddle it up and jam it up and slow it down with different styles, he's been one of those. Steph Curry's another example. Steph was outstanding in college, went to a whole new level in the NBA.
Because of the way it's played, yeah.
Changed the game.
Ben in Charlotte, hey, 3.
I'm sorry, Brad just did something funny.
Ben in
Change
Charlotte.
the game.
Hey, 3 guys, can you go over the schedule for football, basketball, preseason workouts? When does a guy like JT Daniels arrive, start practicing? As a guy who committed via high school or the portal before the spring semester? And when do all the recent basketball commitments get to campus, start workouts? Is it separate from when a high school recruit would arrive? Pretty much when summer school starts, they can start rolling in. And so some high school kids come a little bit later. But so summer school starts here like the Monday after graduation on Saturday. So expect to see them start coming in in May and jump right into it. That's normally what happens.
But you would think that JT Daniels is studying the playbook now.
He has it, but he's got to finish his work at Georgia. But yeah, I'm sure, absolutely, that there might be a phone call or two going on. You know, okay, this is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. And he's got some familiarity, obviously, because of the USC connection, bringing it back to snuff. But I would think as soon as they can, that's kind of what it is. Texter, Chris in Charleston. When is Tyler Consolidated Kennedy going to get an NIL deal? He obviously never goes to class anymore. Well, he graduated. He doesn't have to.
That's the funny story. He actually keeps going, even though he's graduated.
Yeah, he graduated in December. Texter continues, his talent in scheduling guests keeps Hoppy from having an aneurysm. He doesn't do any of your scheduling.
None.
The longevity he's providing you three due to a lack of stress will one day require Hoppy's wife to come to the show and read everyone the sports scores. Means we're going to be chilled out. I digress. Quick question. I own a small business and would like to help with NIL. However, the $250 to $300 a month I could contribute doesn't seem like much in comparison to numbers we keep hearing. How can people who want to help but do not have $100,000 budgets get involved in helping with the NIL?
Casey Legg.
Thanks, guys. Love the show. No, $250
Great question.
Let me tell you something. $250 to $300 a month, you could absolutely get 3 kids to do something for you for $100 each, and they'd be more than happy to do that.
Yep.
Whether that's social media posting. Here's my thought on this NIL deal is that businesses need to become more creative in how they're utilizing the student athlete to perform what it is that they'd like to do. I just think there's some cute things that you could do to get you a little bit more bang off of your buck. Senator, you want to put your marketing hat on there? You agree with me or disagree?
Yeah, for hire, I'll certainly assist in that process. I got NIL deals too. Thank you.
I mean, I got some good ideas. I just think like some of the stuff is just not real sticky. Doesn't make you go, but I think you can do some things that are pretty neat. These kids are pretty creative, and you can put them in some situations, make some funny stuff that'll be memorable, I think. But no, Chris, $300, dude. Yeah, you can do some nice stuff, I think. Are you involved at all, Senator? Do you want Chris to contact you and do a deal or something? I mean, not with you, but I mean with someone else, and you interested in that?
We'll see.
Last text, Josh in Morgantown-ish. Do you all have analytics for your show beyond the basics of how many listeners, downloads, and where? Does anyone keep track of how many times Brad mumbles under his breath after Tony says something like a husband mumbling after his wife nags him? How many times Hoppy used the word pejorative?
Is he talking about Hoppy when I do this?
Or reads
when he talks, when he says something that I talk to you about what he just said?
Exactly.
Is that what he's referring to?
Yeah, it's a secondary dialogue that goes on.
Got it.
Subliminal.
Check.
How many times Hoppy used the word pejorative or reads from the game notes like he's discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls?
That's what game notes are for, by golly.
Or how many times Tony almost swears but holds back? Anyway, I want to applaud your producer, Taylor. He's the Teddy Scott of producers. Who's Teddy Scott? He started caddying for some guy named Scotty Scheffler this year. Prior to Teddy, 0 wins, about $8 million in career money for Scotty. Since Teddy came on in January this year, Scotty's got 4 wins. His last 6 starts, a Masters, and $13 million this year alone. Way to go, Taylor. I'm about sick and tired of Taylor getting
That's a little bit much. I mean, Josh clearly delusional with that text.
Yeah. I mean,
Josh needs to regroup, do better next time.
We've established that Taylor is on a hot streak.
He is.
But I think maybe it's probably past now. I think I'm turning on him.
You think?
I think I'm it's too much love.
No, you're on a streak. I mean,
No,
Brad, you're
here's
on a
what
streak
happened.
until the streak ends.
No, here's the deal, dude. Just like Rich used to say, Whenever you never pat a player on the butt because he'll poop in your hand. And I think right now we're going way too much patting on Taylor.
Is that what Rich said?
Yes.
I mean, Taylor's getting credit now for scheduling your guests. When's the
Thank
last time
you.
he scheduled one of your guests?
Thank you.
I mean, there's an entire narrative out there about what Taylor does and doesn't do. Certainly, is he scheduling your guests?
No.
Hey, Taylor, good job for Kercheval. You're doing a great job on Kercheval's show. You're fine. You just turn the mic on and ask some questions. He's really doing a good job on your show.
Hey, Taylor, great job. You got Casey Legg. Oh, you only went to kindergarten with him. Why wouldn't you be able to get Casey Legg?
And just because I used the word pejorative and you had to look it up.
Hey, you know who we got on Thursday?
Who?
As the summer series continues, guy whose name was brought up last week, Jarrett Brown, former Mountaineer quarterback, will join us. This will be good. Great.
Where's he?
I think he's in Florida. I wonder how much we'll be able to get it. Like, will he open it up a little bit?
Nice.
We're going to try.
Hey, can we do it? Can we also do like a 7-minute with Skylar Howard and get him back now that the War Dogs are on a roll?
Warbirds.
it's brought to us by-
As a partial owner, can you get the name right? What he didn't know it for 3 weeks. You just messed it up. If we're going to be ownership of this group, you need to get the name.
I mean, they're 1-0. He's probably leading whatever league they're in with 5 touchdown passes.
Well,
Just
sure
get him
he
back.
is. We can get him on.
I tried to find. I mean, how do you find it? I tried to find it over the weekend. I could not find it.
It's on Flow Sports to watch it. You have to pay. It's a subscription thing. Flow Sports,
Flow Sports.
FLO Sports. They do a lot of the.
Can we get highlights or something?
The whole game's available. We can watch. What do you say? We all chip in. We'll get a subscription and we'll watch the game.
I'd just like to do a podcast from in front of our sign on the field.
Well, first we got to go to Las Vegas first,
No.
and then we can go to
El
Odessa.
Paso. It's in El Paso. I think the team's in El Paso.
It is.
I thought it was Odessa.
I'll pass. I'm good.
Oh, it's
good.
Odessa, isn't it?
No.
El Paso.
El Paso. I'm good. I'm fine.
What are you saying?
Nah, I'm good. I went once. It's good. 3 guys brought to us by Caesars Sportsbook. Download, get started. Risk-free bet of up to $1,000.
Chamber of Commerce.
There goes our listenership in that area.
Digital
Big
gift
shot.
card of $250.
Is this the mumbling thing Josh was talking about when we
Historic
do this?
city.
97, 2007, 2017. I was there 35 years ago for the Sun Bowl. And Don Crickey did not do the game, but Brent Musburger did. Folks.
How did he do it? How did he open?
Well, folks, it's snowing here on Christmas. 3 guys also brought to us by Comex Business Systems, full-service Conicum and Ulta dealer. Go to Comex Business Systems at ComexWV.com and by Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at BurdettCamping.com or at their new location in El Paso, Texas, outside the arena where the Warbirds play. 3 Guys returns on Thursday as we interview former Mountaineer quarterback Jarrett Brown and our comprehensive spring game preview. Said no one. We're out. See you. Thanks for being with us. Special thank you to Casey Legg, the standout young man who's available for NIL deals at Casey Legg 48. Stop the music. See ya.